Imagine waking up one morning. You go to the kitchen, no coffee, no orange juice, no strawberry jam, no avocado toast. This isn't a supply chain problem. This isn't inflation. This is what happens when bees disappear. 1 in every 3 bites of food you eat exists because a bee pollinated something. Welcome to a world without bees. First, let's understand what bees actually do, because most people massively underestimate it. Bees pollinate over 20,000 species of flowering plants. That's not a typo. 20,000. They pollinate 75% of the world's major food crops, and they do this for free now. Day 1 after the last bee dies. What happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing looks different. That's the terrifying part. The food in stores was already grown. The world is living on existing supply. But the clock is ticking. Month 2. Beekeepers notice their hives are empty, silent, completely abandoned. Scientists confirm all bee species worldwide have vanished simultaneously. Month 3. Crops that need pollination aren't setting fruit. Orchards stand silent. Almonds failed. Blueberries failed. Cherries failed. Avocados failed. The list grows daily. Farmers try hand pollination. Tiny brushes, painting pollen onto every individual flower by hand. One person can hand pollinate 200 flowers per day. One bee pollinates 5,000. Month 4. Supermarket prices begin to rise. First slowly, then not slowly at all. Almond prices rise 400%. Blueberries become more expensive than caviar. But food prices are just the visible problem. Beneath them lies something far more catastrophic. Year 1. Wild plants begin failing to reproduce. Forests start going eerily quiet. Wild plants don't just feed humans. They feed everything. They are the foundation. Bears depend on berries. Birds depend on fruit. Deer depend on flowering plants, all losing their food. This is called a trophic cascade. When one species falls, it pulls entire ecosystems down with it. Year 2. The global food system begins to crack. Not metaphorically, literally. The crops that don't need bees, wheat, rice, corn, oats, these still grow. Humanity clings to them. The human diet becomes bread, rice, corn, oats. Repeat. Every single day. Vitamin C becomes scarce. Vitamin A nearly disappears. Diseases we thought were gone return. Now let's talk about something nobody expects. Cotton needs bees too. No bees means no cotton. No cotton means the clothing industry loses its primary natural material. Year 3. Governments begin food rationing. For the first time since World War II, nations that depended on bee-pollinated export crops face economic collapse. California alone loses its $50 billion almond industry. Overnight, now something most people never think about. 25% of all medicines come from plants. Cancer treatments derived from bee-pollinated plants become impossible to produce at scale. Year 4. Ecosystems begin visibly dying. Not gradually, rapidly. Without new seedlings, forests become populations of aging trees, slowly dying with no replacement. A forest without bees is a forest on death row. It just doesn't know it yet. Year 5. The first famines hit. Not just in poor countries, everywhere. Economists estimate global food production would halve, half the food for 8 billion people. Now a counterintuitive question. What about other pollinators? Can they fill the gap? They cover roughly 20% of what bees do. All other pollinators combined. Just 20%. Bumblebees specifically are the only effective pollinators of tomatoes. They use buzz pollination. No machine has successfully replicated buzz pollination at agricultural scale. Scientists have tried. Year 6. Human population begins to decline. For the first time in all of recorded history, not from starvation alone, from the cascading collapse of everything starvation triggers. Countries with wind-pollinated grain crops become the new superpowers. Russia, Ukraine, Argentina. Food wars erupt. Not metaphorical, actual military conflicts over agricultural land and remaining supplies. Now the most critical question. Is this actually going to happen? Are bees actually in danger? In the last 50 years, wild bee populations in North America have declined by 71%. Colony collapse disorder is real, happening right now. Entire hives found empty overnight. What's killing them? The answer is complicated and entirely human-made. Neonicotinoids don't kill bees instantly. They damage their navigation. Bees get lost and die alone. We've replaced diverse wildflower landscapes with monocultures that offer bees almost nothing. Climate change is breaking a 130 million year relationship between bees and flowers. Countries that banned neonicotinoids saw bee populations stabilize within 3 years. Wildflower highway corridors, urban bee gardens, rewilding programs, all showing real results. A single garden planted with bee-friendly flowers can support 50,000 bees. One garden. Bees are the canary in the coal mine. Their decline tells us something is broken in how we live. The scenario we just described is not inevitable, but only if we treat this as the emergency it is. A world without bees isn't science fiction. It's a scientific warning. And the bees are running out of time. Do you think it's possible for a system like this to have come about by chance?